Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy KTB TV, and I'm back with another barber tutorial video. Today we are going to be doing, I believe, a 1.5 all over with mid tapers. So to start this video out, you make sure you comb everything through. You want to lift the hair off the head, right? That is why you come with a comb, or if it's long, you do a pick. Right now, we coming in with that 1.5, and we just laying everything consistent. We're going with the grain. With the grain means it's going in the, we're going in the direction that the hair grows, right? So if it grows forward, we're going forward. If it grows to the side, we're going to the side. Whatever way it grows, that's the way that we're going. We're taking long, complete strokes. Just be consistent with it, man. Just take your time while you're doing this. Make sure you keep a comb or a brush with you while you're doing this, so that way while you're doing it, you can lay the hairs back down and make sure you're cutting in the right direction. If you cut in the wrong direction, you can scalp or gap a person, right? Meaning you cut the hair in the direction opposite of the way that it grows. So now it's lighter than what you intended it to be. Now, if you look at his hair, right, he has different density levels in certain areas, right? On his right side, it's much lighter than it is his left side. But you just stay consistent, right? You cut everything to the length that the client wants, and then you just go from there. Now we prepping everything, right? Y'all know I like to use got to be, spray everything, lay everything down, and then I like to line up the nape of the neck on both sides before I start to do my back taper. It's just frame out work. It allows you to see the taper a lot better when you pre-line it, and then after you do the taper, you come back and you reline it back up with hitters. Right now I'm using my babies. They don't hit as hard, but they still give off clean lines. Bring that all the way around the ear so you can do your frame out work, right? So that way when you go to start your side tapers, you've already pre-lined it. So now we're coming in with the clipper no guard all the way closed, right? It's not zero gap as of right now, but it's still close to it. Then we're gonna open that lever all the way up and go up about 1/2 inch or a finger's width, and then you do the same steps, 4 strokes, multiple strokes, making sure everything is cut down to that desired length. And now we're going to do the notching method. We're gonna knock that lever down 1, and then we're gonna keep going down, right, until that lever is completely closed. Make sure you have a comb or a brush while you're doing this, and when you're doing the notching method, you're using the corners of your blade so you can go in between the hair, right, to break it apart, so that way that line will come out. Now we're coming in with that 1 guard all the way closed, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going up about 1/2 inch, right? As y'all see, the hair grows at an angle, right? So when you're cutting against the grain, you want to go against that angle, right? Multiple strokes, man. Just make sure you take your time while you're doing this. Now we're coming in with that 0.5 guard or your 1/2 guard or 0, depending on what clippers you're using, and we're doing that notching method, right? All the way, we start all the way open, 1 notch, 1 notch, 1 notch, 1 notch, 1 notch, until it's completely closed, right? Using your corners, and you're flicking out as you're doing this. Take your time while doing this. Sometimes it doesn't take it out all the way, so you have to take that 1/2 guard off, and then you will use the clipper no guard all the way open, and it'll do the same thing. Make sure you're combing while you're doing this. Now see, right there, I had to take that off. Right, that's a part of detailing work, just so I can get that lined up exactly the way that I wanted it to be. Now we coming in with that 1.5 guard. Now as y'all see, I started at that angle because his hair grows at an angle, right? But again, I'm still going up about 1/2 inch, and we just taking our time with doing this. So now, once you come in with the 1.5, you're going to immediately notch it, right? Completely open. Then you're going to close the lever a notch until you're completely closed, and then you're going to come back with that 1 guard, and you're going to detail it, right? Fine tune the fade. See, now we're coming in with that 1 guard. Right underneath it, we're doing a notching method, right? Still using the corners of my blade, right? And we're going to notch it until that line is taken out, or until we're satisfied, right? Sometimes you may even have to take that 1 guard off and go with the 0.5 guard, right? This is all a part of detail work. The reason I do this, man, is so that way when I'm going into detail work, I don't have as much detail work to do, because I'm doing it while I'm in the middle of my fading process, right? It helps me decrease the time that it takes me to cut a client, right? So as opposed to doing an hour service, now I've been able to cut my hour down between 30 to 45 minutes by doing these steps. Now I'm coming in with the 2 guard, right? And we're going to debulk at the top. Remember, we came in with the 1.5 open, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that 2 guard is just going to blend into that, right? Because you're going 2 guard against the grain, which is essentially a 1.5. So you're just staying consistent, man. You're just going to follow those same steps. And then you're going to notch with the 2 guard. And if it doesn't take everything out, you come back with the 1.5 and you repeat the same process like I'm doing right here, right? Everything is repetition, man. The more you do it, the more you practice, the better you will get, right? The easier it will become, because it's repetition. You're doing it over and over and over and over and over again. But while you're doing that, man, just make sure you stay consistent with it, right? Take your time with it. Obviously, the video is sped up, but just take your time. Now, remember, in the beginning, I said, once you set your frame out work, you come back in the end with your hitters, right? And some clients are, the nape of the neck is very sensitive. Now, the ones, the clippers or the trimmers that left that mark was the babies. So if that did that, imagine what the hitters will do. So you have to make sure that you're light with that. Now we're going to repeat the same steps. We're going in, clipper no guard, all the way closed, and then you open it up. Now, in the process of doing that, I'm also going to fade the beard, the top of the beard out, to make the process simpler, right? Now you come in with that 1 guard completely closed, right? And then at the top of the beard, you're gonna come 1 guard open, and you're going to notch that closed, right? To soften that up, then you come back in with that half guard, right? Completely open, notching it all the way down. And then once you fade out the top of the beard, you come completely open, and then you notch it all the way back down. It's the same steps, man, on both parts, right? The only difference with the top of the beard is you're doing a reverse fade in a sense. And we're gonna come back in with that 1.5, right? And we're going to go right above that, doing the same thing, right? Just take your time when you're doing this, man. Continue. Remember your steps, right? The more you do it, the easier it will get. The easier it will be to remember it. So that way you don't get lost in your steps, right? Repetition is key, man. So after that, what we gonna come with? We're gonna come with the 1 guard, right? And we're going to blend what we just did with that 1.5 guard. We're gonna come with the 1 guard completely open, and then we're going to use our corners, right? We're going to notch at it. Sometimes you may not have to go all the way close. Sometimes you may only need the first 2 notches, which is completely open, and then 1 notch underneath that. Now we're gonna come back in with that 2 guard, and we're going to kind of like scoop, right, in a C motion. Just debulking. That's essentially what we're doing. Now, here, I came in with a 3 guard, right? I noticed that the 2 guard would take off too much in that area. I just literally wanted to debulk it a little bit. So I came in with the 3 guard, and when I got closer to the vertical bars, to soften the hair out, right, to debulk it. And now I'm going to come in with the hitters, and I'm going to do some more frame out work, right? Really solidifying that liner. All right, man, on this side, y'all know how I like to get. We just gonna have a conversation, man. How y'all doing, man? You know, I've been kind of slacking on posting, but I got, you know, at least 3 videos that I'm dropping this week, man. So I know, and I appreciate everybody who's been tuning into the videos, who's been finding the information helpful, who's been learning from me, man. I never would have thought that people would take the advice that I have when it comes to barbering and, you know, apply it. So if you're a person who's been trying out my fading technique, please let me know, man. Drop it down in the comment section. DM me on any one of my social media platforms, man, and just let me know if it's been working for you or if it hasn't. So here, right, I noticed that with that 3 guard, I could go around and debulk a little bit more. So that's what I'm doing, right? That's why it's good when you're fading to take a step away from it, right? And to refocus on something else, so that way your eyes can refocus on the fade, right? Sometimes when we so locked in to the fade, your eyes get blurry, or you can't see certain things until you look away and recenter yourself. Now we coming in and we're going to start the pre-lineup. Y'all know how I like to get. I come in with my babies. I start on the vertical bars on each side. Here I hit the vertical and then I just went right into my C cup. It's all personal preference how you want to do your lineups, man, right? It's whatever you're comfortable with. When I first started, I used to start in the middle, and then I would work my way from one side, do one entire side, go back to the middle, and then go to the opposite side, right? Whatever works for you, whatever you feel, or whatever you're comfortable with, do those steps. But whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side to stay consistent, right? I don't think we're using any enhancements on this liner. Even if I don't use enhancements, I always start with my pre-liners, with my babies, to set my foundation, so that way I can see the lineup, right? I can see how I want this to go. Now, if you notice right there, I noticed that I could debulk the lining. So I believe I went in with the 1.5 open when I cut everything down. So there I just went 1.5 closed to debulk it, so that hair could lay down on the front lining to make the lining pop a little bit more, right? Since we're not using any enhancements. But you just stay consistent with this, man. When you're in this mode here, you control the client's head. You turn it where you need it to be to get it as symmetrical as possible. Once you have your baseline set, you come in with your hitters, and then you really solidify that lining. Even though after this, we're going to come back with the straight razor and really set it, right? But you always want to keep at least 2 pairs of clippers. Babies, pre-liners, which is the same, and then hitters. Now, when you're doing your razors, make sure you're changing the blade for every single client. Now, I'm going to lay the client back, use my headrest to make it easier for not only me, but comfortable for the client. And then we're going to clean up the bottom of the beard, right? When you're doing this, you want to consult with your client and ask them where they want the beard to be underneath the neck, right? And then you just follow that all the way around, man, from one side to the next side. Match it into the middle. That's how you do it. But be very careful with this area because it's very sensitive. Now, we're gonna come in with the straight razor for the beard. If you have noticed, I don't use trimmers when it comes to lining up the beard. For me, it is just easier to use the straight razor, right? You prep it the same way you prep the front lineup. Sometimes you may have to do a wet shave, which means you have to use some type of gel or foam or shaving cream, whatever it is that you're comfortable with, or whatever you use, because sometimes the client's skin may be a little tougher than others, right? But you lay the blade at a 45-degree angle using your opposite hand. You stretch the skin to create tension to allow the blade to glide more easily. And then after you do that, you come in with the trimmers, or you can take the blade and just clean everything up. But make sure you hit this line multiple times, right? You want to go over it multiple times just to solidify that line. Then we're gonna come in with the hitters. We're gonna hit the mustache. But I'm coming up to the end of the video, man. Again, I appreciate everybody who tunes into every single video, who drops likes, who comments, who shares. Man, I really appreciate it. It's not going unnoticed. We are almost at 200 subs, man. I appreciate everybody so much. Y'all have no idea. This has always been one of my dreams, man, and it is coming to fruition. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, man, please drop a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your mama, with your cousin, with your auntie, with your sister, with your uncle, whoever, man. I appreciate everybody, man. I can't thank y'all enough. Look at that glass. I appreciate y'all, man, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.